Here we're asked to differentiate this function. Okay, well I'm going to call it a function because right now it's just an expression. Okay, so we'll pretend like this guy right here is the function, right? So we want to differentiate this. So we'll call it f. And so what we need to do is find f prime. Now, we can't combine the numerators here, we're stuck, and we really can't do anything with the denominator either. So what we're going to use here is the quotient rule. So if you remember, the easy way to remember the quotient rule is the lower the denominator times the derivative of the numerator, so low d high minus high d low, so the numerator times the derivative of the denominator over the denominator squared. So low d high minus high d low over low squared. So let's go ahead and do that. So the low is this guy right here. And we need to times that by the derivative of the numerator. Well, the derivative of the numerator is 1/2 x to the negative 1/2. The derivative of this guy is 3/2 x to the positive 1/2. So this is your low. This over here is the derivative of the numerator. Now we're going to subtract the top, the numerator, times the derivative of the denominator. And the derivative of the denominator is 3/2 x to the 1/2. And of course the derivative of the 1 is 0, right? So, or not, yeah, 0, so that guy's gone. So this right here is the high, and this right here is the derivative of the low. And so we're going to put that whole guy, sorry about that wavy line, let's see if we can't get it a little bit more straight. I think I've actually got a ruler here. Okay, so we need this whole guy. That looks better. We need that over the bottom squared. So that's going to be x 3/2 plus 1 squared. So this is good right here. Okay, we've got the derivative. Now we might want to try to simplify it a little bit, okay, by multiplying some stuff in. But it's going to be an ugly mess. Okay, so why don't I go ahead and I'll do that for you. Okay, but just realize that right here we've done the derivative. We've differentiated. We just haven't made it look nice. It's like if you're working with a fraction and you come up with an answer like 6/8, and that's your final answer. You know, it would be nice if we reduced this guy right here to 3/4, because in your mind 3/4 is a little bit easier to visualize, right? 75% versus 6/8. Okay, so that's the idea here. We might want to go ahead and reduce this. And it's going to be, like I said, an ugly mess. So we'll take the first guy and multiply it. Take this guy and multiply it in. Okay, so here's what we're going to get. We're going to get 1/2 x to the 3/2 times x to the negative 1/2. And we'll be able to add those guys together in a minute. Then we're going to take this guy and we're going to bring it in to the next term. And so that's going to be plus 3/2 x to the 3/2 times x to the positive 1/2. Then we're going to multiply 1 into that, and that one's not going to be too bad. Okay, so 1 gets multiplied in, we just get this guy back out. And then we're going to multiply 1 into this guy right here. And so we'll just get that guy back out again. Okay, now back over here. So this is the first part. I'm going to put it in brackets. Okay, now on this back side right here, this guy multiplied out, it's going to be tight on room here, so I'm just going to write it, well, I'll try to write it up here and we'll see how much we can get in there. So this guy times this guy, grab another color and do that. These two guys multiplied together are going to give me 3/2 x to the 1/2 times x to the 1/2. And then this right here, I know it's in purple, so it's a little dark there. That's going to be a positive. You know what? Let me switch colors. I don't like that. We'll do the lighter purple. That one shows up just a little bit better. So that'll be plus 3/2 x to the 3/2 times x to the 1/2. And then of course the whole thing, again, I'm going to grab my ruler because this is ridiculously long. We got that whole thing divided by the denominator squared, which is going to be x to the 3/2 plus 1 times x to the 3/2 plus 1. I'll go ahead and I'll square that out in a minute. Okay, so this is an ugly mess. This right here, let's see here, what can I do? Well, let's just simplify each of these pieces. So the green piece becomes 1/2 x. Now when you've got the same base and different powers, you just add these guys right here. So it'd be 3/2 plus a negative 1/2, or 2/2, which is just going to be 1. Okay, so this will just end up being just 1/2 x. Then the blue piece is 3/2 x to the, now we add, right, and positive, so we get 4/2, or squared. Okay, and then this is going to be, this we really can't do a whole lot with this, so I'm just going to rewrite this. And then back here, and the red, that'll be 3/2 x to the 1/2 plus a 1/2 is 2/2. And then 3/2 x to the 4/2. Just like that. So this times this, okay, plus this times this, and this times this, so that gives me 2 of those guys. And then 1 times 1 is 1. So if you're talking to anyone in like an 0310 class or a 1314 class, and they're discussing, multiplying these polynomials out, here's a great example of the mess that you can end up with when you have to go ahead and FOIL. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put some of these guys together that we can. I'm just going to reduce some of this stuff here. So I'm just going to write it all out now with one color, so that's a little bit faster. Okay, so I have, this is just x, okay, and this guy is just x. So I've got a 1/2 x, okay, so this guy right here is 1/2 x, and this is minus 3/2 x. Okay, so a 1/2 minus 3/2 is just a negative 2/2 x. So negative 2/2 is just negative x. Just like that. Okay, so I've got a 1/2 minus that. Now, this right here is 3/2 x squared. And this right here is 3/2 x squared. So it's positive 3/2 x squared minus 3/2 x squared. So those guys are going to cancel out. Okay, so what we've used so far is I've used the first 2 here and the first 2 back here. So I've just got these guys left right here, and there's really not a whole lot that I can do with that. So for right now, so I'm going to write this as 1/2 x to the 1/2, just to make it positive, plus 3/2 x to the 1/2, and we'll put the square roots and stuff in there at the end. So here I'm going to have 6/2, or x to the 3rd, Okay, plus, over here, I've got 2x to the 3/2 plus 1. And now, just to get rid of the denominator here, I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 2. So when I do that, I get negative 2x plus x to the negative 1/2. I'm going to bring it back up top. So I probably didn't need to move it back down to the bottom here. Plus 3x to the 1/2 over, now I multiplied everything by 2, so I'm going to multiply the bottom by 2. Okay. And it's probably best, the book doesn't do this, but it's probably best to go ahead and take these guys right here and write these two. Well, you know what, we'll leave it like that. I think it's fine. So anyway, so this is how the text gets to their final result.